Hi there. So now I'm going to teach you how to play the guitar because simply, well, it's pandemic nowadays and it's much better to play the guitar or to learn how to play this instrument. Okay, now the first thing that you have to do is to have an instrument that is well tuned. By this I mean that you have to tune your instrument right. Okay, so let's try this one. Let's try to tune this instrument. The first thing that you have to do is you have to have a tuned instrument. That's why I tuned this instrument first. And you should have no problem about it because the tuners are so well available these days. For one, this guitar has a tuner that is installed. Then you may also download some apps in the Google Play Store for tuning your instruments. Now, the second thing is that you have to choose an easy song. With this, I mean that you have to choose a song that which you find that it's easy to play. Let's say you heard a song that uses only more or less around 2 to 3 chords. Now, that will qualify. And in my experience, I found the song by Four Non Blondes as an easy song because primarily it uses only 3 chords: the A, the B minor, the D, and back to A. Now, it's a fairly easy song, but you have to feel its rhythm. When you have to feel its rhythm, you have to feel how the song goes. And you really have to play the very first notes of the chord in the measure. Like in this case, tan tan taran tan taran taran tan 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 taran tan taran taran tan 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 taran tan taran taran tan tan taran tan taran tan taran taran tan. Now let's use the chords in those first measures. Okay, ready and tan taran tan taran taran tan taran taran tan tan taran taran tan tararan tan taran taran tan tararan tan taran tan taran tararan. So it's quite a bit complicated, but we have to cut it down into pieces. So first of all, the rhythm, and then your left hand and your right hand. Okay, with your left hand, the left hand is tasked to do the right chords or to form the right chords in your guitar. Since our guitar is already tuned, you can be assured that whenever you press the right chords or press the right patterns on the fretboard, it will sound exactly as what it is intended to sound like. So if your problem is with your left hand, practice it slowly and just do the simple strumming during the first beat of the measure. So let's say the song is in a 4/4 time measurement, so tan tan taran tan taran taran tan taran tan tan taran tan taran taran tan taran tan tan taran tan taran taran tan tarara tan tan taran tan taran taran tan. Okay, during the first beat of the measure, you simply have to strum the chords with your left hand. Now the focus right now is with your left hand. Okay, let's try it. Tan taran tan taran taran tan, and then prepare for the next chord. Tan taran tan taran taran tan, and then again prepare for the next chord. Tan taran tan taran taran tan, and prepare for the next chord. Tan taran tan taran taran tan. Okay, so you just simply have to focus. If you cannot get the chords right at the first time at its proper timing, you simply have to take time to practice with shifting on those chords. So let's say we have an A chord, uses these notes. Okay, and then shift it to the B minor chord while taking carefully observing how your fingers will move across the fretboard. So in this case, it moves like this. From this position, it moves to this. So you just have to simply practice on how to transfer or how to shift from one chord to another. So from A to B minor, A to B minor. So you practice it slowly until such time that you can do it even without you consciously taking note of it. Okay? First, look at how your fingers will move from one chord to another. Let's say from A to B minor. So your fingers will just have to move like this, and there you have it. Okay? You just have to observe how your left fingers, if you're right-handed, you just have to observe carefully how your fingers will move from one chord to another. And then slowly move in. And then from B minor to D. Okay, so from B minor to D. In my case, what I did was I practiced with my left hand first because it's very hard to shift from one chord to another. So from A to B minor, I practice it slowly at first, observing or carefully observing the movements of my left hand or left fingers. Okay, from A to B minor. So this is the end position for B minor. A to B minor, A to B minor, A to B minor, A to B. Now after that, I move quickly from B minor to D major. So B minor to D major, B minor, D major. Taking note mentally of how the finger should move from B minor to D major. Okay, so B minor, and then you just have to simply move a bit with your fingers like this, and then go to another chord. And then from D major to A major, D major, A major. Now, that will solve my problem with my left hand. This time around, I have to work on something with my right hand. So, while doing something with my right hand, I just simply have to remember that I have to strum during the first beat of the measure. So, let's just mute our left hand, okay? tan taran tan tarararan tararan taran tan taran taran tan tararan taran tarat tarat tat tararan tat tarat tat tarat tarat tat. Okay, so let's try it with the chords. Given this time that you are already well practiced with your left hand, now we're going to work out with our right hand. So practice with your right hand. First strum on the first beat of the measure, and you are done. Now, when your left hand is well coordinated with your right hand, you will now play the song. It's that easy. So practice tediously with your left hand, practice tediously with your right hand. Okay? And after that, because since we were trying to play with the right hand at the first beat of the measure, let's try to feel the music. Let's try to feel it. Well, we'll find out whether we are playing together along with the rhythm of the song. That's why in the first place we chose a fairly familiar song in order for us to practice with. Familiar song and easy chords. Okay? So let's try to do it now. Let's try to feel the rhythm. So since the song from Conan Blondes makes a rhythm as well, it makes a rhythm like tan tan taran tan tarararan tarara tan tan taran tan tarararan tarararan tan taran tan tarararan tarararan tan taran tan tarararan. It doesn't matter. For the very first time, it doesn't matter whether it's downstroke or upstroke. In my case, I didn't care whether it's downstroke or upstroke when you have to strum the guitar, so long as it fits the rhythm. So sooner or later we'll find you will be able to detect on what's sooner or later you will be able to detect whether it's a downstroke or an upstroke. So in this case, I did it like this. So if you've noticed, my strumming wasn't perfect, but the important thing is I played within the proper timing. That's all that matters. So in your case, you can do that. You can be forgiving to yourself. You don't have to be very strict on yourself. In the first place, you're still trying to learn the instrument. And in my example, or in my case rather, I have been playing for so many years already, but I'm still forgiving on myself. It doesn't matter. What matters most is that you're making music. And that's on top of it all. And for the last bit of tips, well, what I'm going to give you is that you don't have to rush things up. It takes time for you to develop that left hand and right hand coordination. So with slow practice, you will be able to do it properly. You don't have to rush things up. So As a recap, first of all, you have to have a tuned instrument. Then, you have to select an easy song, well, a fairly familiar song to you, familiar song, and more or less a song that contains, well, that is played using simple chords. And with the chords, as with the chords, you have to check it out with the chord chart for the guitars. You can find it all over the internet. And then after that, you just simply have to practice with your left hand and your right hand. Feel the rhythm. Practice slowly but surely. If you cannot do it for the first time, it's okay. Me too. I wasn't able to do it in the first time, but with several practices, even just with a few minutes of practices each day, I was able to do it. And I suppose, and I believe that you will be able to do it too. So until next video, stay cool and safe.